state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
The city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
Live from MacKtion Community Services Studios in Colorado, USA. This is the Mile High Hockey Lab.
Hello and welcome to the Mile High Hockey Lab. My name is Adrian Hernandez. I am here today with Ezra Parter, Brendan Vogt, Jackie K, and soon Evan Liu as well. And we are here to talk about the Colorado Avalanche, who are officially playing hockey as of last week. And we are moving and grooving into the 2025-26 regular season of the NHL. We got lots to talk about, but while I have your attention, please head on over to our website, milehighhockey.com, where you will find all of our written material to include previews, recaps, opinion pieces, polls, all the fun stuff that you might be interested in as it pertains to the Colorado Avalanche. And head on over to Hockey Mountain High, a site that Brendan and Evan are working on these days. And of course, please give us a follow, a like, and a subscribe on your preferred podcast platform and wherever you're watching us live right now. So, look who's joining the party, Mr. Evan Liu, just in time, my friend. I appreciate it. But yeah, we have lots to talk about today. We saw some hockey last week. Unfortunately, we saw the Avalanche lose it yet again to the Dallas Stars. We also, however, saw 3 really good wins. Maybe 2.5 really good wins from the Colorado Avalanche, which we will touch on all of that. And we will also get a quick look ahead on the games to come before our next episode, which should include a Mammoth game, a Bruins game, and of course the game on Thursday night. So let's just get right into all of that happened kind of last week, or I guess after last week's episode, starting with the absolute fireworks show that Martin Necas and Nathan MacKinnon are putting on so far this regular season. And Evan, I'm going to start with you, even though you were late to the program, just a hair late. That's
he
fine.
Shouldn't get first dibs. Jackie should get first dibs because she was on time and she's the lady.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I like to save Jackie for last because she's the rebuttal queen. So we need her there. So I'm going to start with you, Evan. 8 points in 4 games for Martin Necas. Pretty good start to a contract year, wouldn't you say?
More than a pretty good start. That's a very good start for him. Apologies, I was late. I'm sorry. No one told me it was our basketball media day here at work, so that was fun. But Necas was great. He's been great, and that kind of connection with MacKinnon has, I think, really kind of blossomed into something great, and that's something that I think was sort of a question mark, when he was acquired in that trade with Rantanen, but we knew how Rantanen had always played well with MacKinnon, and Necas, you kind of expected the same because MacKinnon uplifts everybody around him, but you just weren't really sure, and he's really shown that, now in these first 4 games, and especially yesterday in particular. I was at the Buffalo game. It's my one close game of the year when they're out here, and he was a man on a mission. I mean, just flying up the ice. And when you have 2 guys that are flying up the ice in MacKinnon and Necas, and a third guy on that line, Lehkonen, who will just do the dirty work in the corners and has some speed himself, like that's a pretty damn dangerous first line, if I say so myself. So very good year, very good start to the year for Martin Necas, and I think really now you have to wonder, like, how long does it take for the Avalanche to bite? Because this was sort of similar to Rantanen and how he started last year. Remember, he had that season opening hat trick against Vegas to open the year in that ridiculous was it 8-4 loss or whatever it was. So you've seen it before. We've seen guys in contract years where they'll blossom and explode for points, and then maybe after that they'll kind of dip off. Nate just is showing, at least for now, he's worth the money. So
yeah,
TikTok, Chris McFarland, sign the man, pay his money, pay him his money,
pay the man his money. Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. Like, I think it's funny that you bring up MacKinnon's performance in Buffalo, because I jokingly sent you a comment on X. Because after the Dallas game, MacKinnon was like really upset because he thought the fans were booing the power play on the double minor, which they may very well have been at a certain point. But I jokingly said, like, I hope the fans just make him so mad that he has a historic year, because that's what it feels like. That's kind of how it feels like MacKinnon operates. Ezra, I kind of liken it to like Michael Jordan, who we've heard stories about him like literally making things up about what his opposition said about him just in order to fuel his fire. Do you see some of that in MacKinnon when you see kind of how he reacted to being told, or I guess maybe being booed on the power play?
I mean, a little bit. I see what you're saying for sure, but I feel like Jordan would have been like actually mad versus like clearly joking around like MacKinnon was, I thought. But definitely MacKinnon is a player who's able to put a chip on his own shoulder when he needs it and get to work. And we've seen that so far. I mean, like we were saying with the Nature's conversation, they're tied atop the league in points with 8 at number 1 and number 2 in the league. That's a pretty good start. If he has to invent some media narrative to make himself mad enough to do that, great, do it. But I don't.
Yeah, that's you don't necessarily think that's exactly how he is, but if it is, by all means, keep it rolling, because it's turning into what we've seen.
It's working.
The last few.
Yeah, if that's what it is, it's working.
Yeah. Well, Brendan, we've touched on it a little bit, which is the Dallas game and kind of how that ended, of course, with Mikko Rantanen potting a shootout goal, which would inevitably lead to a shootout loss for the Colorado Avalanche. But a lot of the, I guess, narrative following the game, especially from the locker room, was that there was a lot to like from that game, despite the outcome, and that Ottinger just had himself a night. Are you of that same opinion? If not, tell me where you differ. And if you are, kind of tell me what you see that you think the Avs could really take into the next coming games that is a positive.
Well, they've played such a physical game and such a fast game at the same time. How can you not like the game? And it was so refreshing to actually see them play hard and fast at the same time. So it's how can you not like that?
Yeah.
And
I have a reason as to why, but go ahead.
Well, yeah, other than the shootout, come on.
Yeah. Which, are you talking kind of about Bednar's choices in terms of the shootout? His player choices or the results?
No. It's just the end result is
gotcha
in general. But the fact that they played a hard physical game and were able to stay in the game for the most part in general, it was a good game to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Now, had it been like someone like Columbus, that's gonna probably be a different story.
Yeah. That's a good point. Like, you have to take into consideration the competition, and you're totally right. Like, the way I saw that game as a viewer was that the Avs were really controlling things. But this is the same dialogue we had about the Avs in Dallas in the playoffs. And so I worry about just accepting the fact that, hey, sometimes Ottinger is going to have a good night and we'll get him next time. Well, sometimes there's no game 8, or sometimes there's no game 7. And so I do think that there's work to be done in terms of that. Ottinger, by all means, it's possible that he doesn't get any worse and he plays just as good as he did in that game as he in the future potential playoff matchup. And I think there's other goalies, there's other teams that have that capability as well. I mean, the Jets, if Hellebuck is a version of himself from the regular season in the playoffs, he has just as much capability of doing that as well. So I'm with you. I see the speed and the physicality, and I think that is a good thing. I just don't know that in specific matchups, that one in particular, you can't go too far away from did you win or did you lose? Because at the end of the day, that's kind of what it's going to come down to against another contender, which is how I see the Dallas Stars. But Jackie, speaking of playing well against contenders, Gavin Brindley scores his first NHL goal in what is the biggest game of the regular season so far against the Dallas Stars. A big goal, no less. One to kind of bring his team back into the fold of the game. And he made the road trip. Are you starting to be a little more optimistic about Gavin Brindley being a permanent Avalanche?
Definitely not. It needs a lot more than that. I mean, the goal, awesome. Good for him. He played 6 minutes that game. He played a little bit more yesterday in Buffalo, 10 minutes. And they still haven't solved this bizarre whatever they're doing with Bardakov. So, no. I mean, Prishapov played 10 games last year. So, Brindley's at 4. I mean, we'll assume he's going to play in Columbus 5. When they get back home, the Eagles leave on a road trip. So, I don't know. I mean, they could easily send him down then. I mean, he's fit in, but I really don't. He doesn't have a role, really. Like, fourth line wing is not a role. 10 minutes is not a role or less. I don't see the commitment. I mean, they can say whatever they want. They lie. They drive narratives and then they change the narrative. And like I said, this is not to say I don't like him. This is not to say I don't want him on the team the whole year. But if you're saying, like, have I seen evidence that the Avs have turned over a new leaf? No.
Yeah, sure.
So, I mean, every day he gets, good for him. It's a bonus, thumbs up. Ask me in January
Okay.
if I think the Avs are taking him seriously. If he's still here in January, then I might be like, yeah, I think maybe we're getting somewhere. But 4 games, no.
I hear you. I think that's fair. Like you said, you have examples as to how we've been shown these players and their capabilities, and then later down the road, they are once again just AHLers. I do think, though, that Bednar, I mean, you're going to laugh at me because you're like, I just told you they lie, Adrian. But I mean, Bednar has been pretty high, in particular, in praising his defensive play, which I think is always the question with a younger guy and somebody who's like making the team. It's not whether or not you're particularly skilled enough, especially when you're playing a bottom 6 role. It's about how you play on the back end. It's about how you can be slotted potentially into a penalty kill, depending on how the situation is. So do you feel like his play style, maybe not so much how the Avs view him or how they develop guys like him, but do you think that him in particular, his play style could bode more well for him sticking around?
Well, I mean, when you play 8 minutes, that's not a good sign for your defense.
Okay.
If you're getting 8 minutes of play, then they don't really believe that you're defending. Could he? Like, yes, I think the speed that he plays with, I think the ability that he can be tenacious, he can forecheck. But as far as defensively, I mean, remember, he's not the biggest guy.
Sure.
Do they take it seriously that he's going to defend? Not that Jack Drury's large either. Yeah, it's possible. I'm not saying like the player he is makes it impossible, but they definitely have to get over themselves to see him as a legitimate regular contributor for the long haul. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, we need to see a lot more real evidence before we get there. If you want me to touch on a couple of the other topics.
I was actually just about to do that. Yeah.
I mean, the MacKinnon thing is just stupid. He hates like media controversy. So for him, like, I was certain that somebody just asked him a stupid question. And then when I watched it back and he brought it up himself, I'm like, you are so dumb. Because he hates that stuff. He hates like the media stirring the pot. Now they're gonna ask him about it like over and over again. And I'm like, this is your fault. So for him to bring it up, it's like, come on, dude. Really? Like, I didn't think it was cute. It wasn't funny. Like, that's not the type of player he is, the person he is. And it's like, this team has a problem endearing themselves to the fans. Let's just make that a little bit harder.
Well,
Maybe
you
it's
could
because I'm a
just
comedian, but I found that endearing. I was into it.
Well,
Knowing who he is, no.
well,
Like,
they got to take lessons from Brad Marchand.
Well, he's not that guy either. If you want to be that person, you want to, have that persona, good for you. But that is not MacKinnon.
Sure.
MacKinnon does not want to talk about anything. He wants to just do his.
I think that's what you saw, though. I think you saw a very, very frustrated Nathan MacKinnon who wasn't excited about being asked questions because he just lost to Dallas. The same reason we were Avs fans were potentially booing him during the power play is the same reason why he's pissed after in the post game, and it's because
he
it
did
wasn't
it to
working.
himself.
Yeah,
So,
I didn't like the
other
quote
thing is-
either. Yeah.
the power play was a problem. You were what, 0 for 5 at that point, 3 minutes into a 4-minute power play. Maybe if you'd scored one more power play goal, you would have won the game. So I don't know, the whole bringing up the fans and booing. I mean, I had it on mute at that point. I can only take so much commentary.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much there was boos or not boos, but at that point, you deserve boos. And we can continue to flog the power play because it's not good. It's 29th in the league in expected goals, 4 per 60. So you can talk about all the chances you're creating and hitting the post. It ain't real. So
they're honestly not Buffalo where they only have 2 goals in 3 games. So
no, but they are 0 for 5 on the power play against Buffalo. Which is, I mean,
if Buffalo has more goals, or wait, the Avs have more power play goals than Buffalo has overall.
So Buffalo's the bar of decency.
Well, I'm just saying, in general, they're the last team we played. So I'm just
question, Brett.
They have a perfect
is something? Yeah, that's true. You're right.
They do.
You're right, Ezra.
They need to get Nelson off the power play. First of all, they need to play him a lot less.
Yeah.
Second of all. I mean, it's great that MacKinnon and Nichas are lighting it up. They've definitely I would credit them for the win yesterday because the Avs didn't have much going for the first half of that game. So the fact their stars carried them, I mean, that's great. But it's the whole point is that everybody else is supposed to contribute and show up at some point. So it's be happy for the wins, be happy that MacKinnon and Nichas are doing their thing, but that's not going to sustain. They're going to beat a bunch of crappy teams. We know that. They're going to have a lot of wins. But what you said, what do you need to do to actually beat the Dallas Stars? You need other people to score.
Mm-hmm.
And
I get McKinnon's point. If you watch the power play, it's creating chances. 100%.
But then why is it 29th in the league?
But
expected
goals
for?
Nate,
are they really?
But also, optically, I think they are. But you are. But guys, the ultimate goal of being on the power play is to put the puck inside of the net. It's not to create chances. In fact, you could create just one chance, and if it goes in the net, that's a great power play. That's a great power play.
And then we'll be sitting here saying that's unsustainable. I don't agree with you at all. You have to be creating chances.
I can hear Jackie just saying that's unsustainable. They can't do this forever.
Evan has his hand up, and we should get to him. But I really quick. Sorry, Evan. I want to say, it's 4 games into the season. We can't lay too much of the hands of the fancy stats. What I'm seeing is a power play that's moving the puck, and they need to shoot it more. Yes, but man, the movement is good. Okay, Evan.
You pretty much stole the words right out of my mouth, Ezra. But hold on, I want to suffice this. I mentioned this, I don't know, probably a month ago now on the podcast. I said, do not be surprised if this power play starts slow.
You did.
It's a new system, new coach. This is something that the Avalanche are figuring out and learning for the first time in almost 10 years, basically, where it's a brand new system. It looks better. I agree. To the eye test, it looks better. Are they great? Are they scoring? No. That is your problem. Sure, we can say that. I'm not concerned though. I'm not super concerned. If this is happening still in December and they're still 29th in whatever that stat was that Jackie said, then yes, I will be worried about it. But right now we are 4 games into the year. To the eye test, they looked good. I also particularly liked yesterday that on the second unit got a lot more time than they would have in
That's been true. Yeah.
Just get Nelson off the power play. Just
And my
it looks
point is,
good
though,
as
that
long as you don't look at the right side. Just
Well,
stay looking on the left
yeah,
side.
but like my
The-
point is, though, is that it looks better than it has been. The chances and the finishing has just not been there. And I want to give myself the little pat on the back for saying that it could start slow. I will have a piece on it tomorrow that there should not be a huge concern about it right now. If this continues, then yes.
We know who to blame, MacKinnon, for bringing it up. So it's his fault.
Oh, and then
Well,
also,
you know
did
whose
the
fault it
second
is the
unit get
Avalanche.
more time simply because, and this was a fantastic catch by Mr. Evan Liu, that because Nelson was getting stitched up.
Yeah.
And that made it
Because-
better.
No, I'll admit that was pretty scary. There was
Yeah.
I saw I was kind of on the other side of the rink where it happened from. But I was down low and I saw the skate go up and I was like, "Ooh, that wasn't pretty." And then he shook his glove off and pointed the bench. And I was like, "Oh no, that's not good at all." And he sprinted off in the tunnel. But
and then he texts me. He's like,
good.
"Nelson just got his wrist cut," and I'm like, "Oh, excuse me."
Well, I was surprised that TV didn't catch that at all. That seems pretty. I mean, it was right there. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's whatever. And another Alex fan too pointed it out. I mean, that was sitting close to us. And I want to give him a shout out, Jeremy and Selena, because after the game they were like, "Are you Evan from the Mile High Hockey Lab?" And I was like, "That's me." And good job to them. Thanks for listening.
Yes, we love
my
our
dad
listeners.
and my girlfriend very happy that happened. My dad was like, "That's a
You
proud
are
moment.
so
Proud of
cool.
you." So, that was cool. Shout out to you, Jeremy and Selena. Keep on listening. Keep on sharing. We appreciate all of you, even though we're going crazy over here about the power.
Well,
And then,
that's awesome, Evan. That's a really cool thing that somebody recognized you like that. It means a lot to us, I think, over here. But I think my whole thing with this dialogue, the narrative around this is Jackie, you're right. MacKinnon started it with the comment, but also the Avs started it by firing an assistant coach and scapegoating the power play last year. This isn't a conversation if we find a different thing to scapegoat last year, right? And so, you can't blame Avalanche fans for watching their team get a double minor against the Dallas Stars and not be able to score on the power play, because it's literally like deja vu from one of the worst series that we've ever had to bear witness to. And so in particular, when that happened in the playoffs, it was in a game that they should have absolutely definitely won when they took a double minor into overtime. So this isn't just fans being irrational. It's actual sports trauma seeping to the surface. And you acknowledged it. You acknowledged it when you fired an assistant coach and blamed the power play in the offseason. So it's going to be what's the only thing that's talked about, even if it's good. If it's great, it's going to be look at this. Look at what the Avalanche have done to turn this power play around. We're going to get the side-by-side graphics. 2024 compared to now. Look at how these things have changed. But if they don't change, then what? Then who's to blame? So I think over a long period of time, Evan, you're 100% correct. I'll sit on it. I don't think enough time has happened. I don't think we have enough data points to really draw a conclusion yet. I will say, though, that saying, hey, the power play is good, but you just don't know what a good power play looks like is kind of not the fairest assessment when a good power play looks like one that goes in the net. That's pretty much the simple answer. That's what a good power play looks like, one that scores.
I think what they need to do is they need to talk to the Eagles. My gosh, they were 3 for 4 on the first night.
Yeah. Speaking of, I think you get a ding later, my friend. Yeah.
Do I?
I think you do.
Yeah.
I think you do. I think you do.
Yes.
But
Well,
I don't think we can just skate through the Natchez conversation, which is the same one that we've had, but it's becoming a problem that he's not signed. I mean, can we admit that?
Yes.
No.
It has to every time he scores. I mean, how can you say that? Did he not get more expensive in 4 games?
Yeah, but what's the problem with that? If he becomes worth a bigger contract, great.
He's at 164 point pace.
That's
What's
not going to
the problem
happen.
with that is
Well,
we
you
have
get
a
my
team who's been
point.
shown not to pay what people
Don't
are
laugh at me,
potentially
Evan.
worth.
Wow. I think
That's
I
the
would have
story.
to hope they learn the lesson from the
Yes.
Rantanen situation, and they see the way that contracts are being doled out around the league. I mean, if Martin Necas outplays Kyle Connor this season, for example, then he gets paid more than $12 million. I think that's a fair argument. I don't think he does. I think they come in around the same and they get paid around the same, and we're all happy. But I also thought Rantanen would sign for around the same last year, and that didn't happen. So what do I know?
I guess
But
here's my point is that we've been through the process before with Rantanen, right? We know what could happen. I guess we don't want that to happen, especially now. You don't know who's going to make the free agency next year. You don't know who's even going to be available to be traded, and at least thinking pretty long term here is the more expensive he gets, it means that the Makar gap then maybe gets a little bit tighter than it was before. So, I mean, they're going to make Makar work, that's for sure. But yeah, it just makes it a little probably harder than it would have been 4 games ago. I don't know. I mean, it's not going to be like $1 million worth difference in these last 4 games, but it's going to be at least a little bit of a difference than it had been before.
I think it's only that. I think that's we laid it out perfectly, because Ezra, you're right. Like, there's nothing wrong with a guy showing he's good. I want him to be good. I want him to be very good. I want him to earn more money because he's super good. But at the same time, I need to be able to sleep at night on the fact that the Avalanche are willing to pay for good still. Because what it feels like right now is there's a little bit of a out of touchness with the market. Now, that's where we are right now. It could be that when he comes in, he does come in at a higher clip maybe than any of us were expecting, and the Avs fork it over. That, to me, will be an acknowledgement of the fact that they were a little out of touch, if that's how it goes down. And so we're cool, but I'm like, sign the man. Make it happen. Put something in front of the dude so that we can move on. And this career year isn't like he's having a career year, but guess what? It's almost March. You know what I'm saying? Because that's when things will start to get really hairy. And I, for one, don't want to be at Dave & Buster's and see a banner across the bottom of a giant screen that says the Colorado Avalanche have traded Martin Necas. That's not what I want.
I wonder if they just would do an own rental at this point. Like, they're going to be so married to the current season that I wonder if they've almost like resigned to that.
I don't know. I see what
like
you mean.
the recent, like, I just wanted to point out also, like, the actual recent facts. A is that Kyle Connor signed for $12 million. I think that definitely puts a real like benchmark ahead of him. Like we said, he hasn't outplayed Kyle Connor yet, but that's a real and true figure. So if you believe the argument, the Avs are just waiting for the market is here. We have a number.
Well, that and the I think the market's super inflated because the demand or the supply of players was low over the summer. Now, once we get to next summer, the supply of players is going to be high.
But they all signed.
Yeah, insanely high. But unfortunately, like, McDavid is gone, so that's not going to raise the market artificially, but it's going to lower the market value of a lot of players, if that makes sense.
Well, when the cap goes up almost $10 million a year, I don't quite know if it's necessarily going to be who's on the market. Plus, we already had a bunch of guys sign. If more sign between now and then, and Necas ends up as the best player on the market, then it doesn't really matter who else is on it if he's the best player.
Yeah, but like, you get what I mean. That the supply was low, so the demand on like the market or the contract values were super high because they could ask for it because the supply of players was extremely low this year for some odd reason. That's just the way it worked out.
Sure.
Because players resign with their teams. Like, I think you should continue to expect that. Like, guys come up every year, but a lot of them sign. And then you had arguably the bigger ones, Rantanen and Marner, who basically chose their teams and were never free agents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's
the other thing is I wanted to point out is there are some rumors from insiders that say Necas wants to wait now, that there isn't real heavy talks right now, and that he wants to wait and see where the market's going. And we know what that means. It means UFA.
I was gonna say, I was literally thinking that, Brendan, like, oh my god, I'm in a I'm in the twilight zone right now because this
Yeah.
is exactly what we
But
sounded like last year with a different
Mhm.
guy from Finland.
Also, Brennan, you sounded way too much like my college professors in business classes. I didn't.
Yeah, truly.
That's not the first time I've been told I sound like a professor.
But of course, Dan
Oh.
could wake up and say,
Just
sign the
need the
guy,
leather elbow patches.
and they say the magic number and he signs. Of course, that's
There it is.
possible any day. But
I hope that that's exactly what happens. That like I wake up, I wipe the sleep out of my eye, and I pop open my phone, and there's Brendan saying, "Breaking news: The Avalanche have agreed to terms with Martin H's, and it's 8 years by 10.88 million." I think the real thing that's a kicker here is the 8th year, which is gonna bode well for the Avalanche because you can't get 8 years from anybody else.
I don't know. I go back and forth on that. Do the players really care that much about, because it's not like that 8th year is whatever he'd get paid versus 0. That 8th year then would be on a new contract at what is the cap at that point. And yes, obviously he'd be older. Is he still good? Can he still command that? But to the player, is the 8th year that important? I mean, especially if you're going to take a lower AAV from your existing team versus a UFA AAV, is it really that important?
I think it used to be, but with the cap rising, right now, you should be doing a shorter deal anyway to see what you can make again in 4 years, unless you're worried about injury or age. So for me, if I'm Martin H's, I'm sitting at home saying this season is great. I need to do as much as I can to make myself worth as much as possible, right? But also, I need to assess if this is the fit I need long term to maximize who I am as a player. So I think, and I've been kind of said this all summer, I think for both sides, waiting till around December when you're like, okay, we're going to consider what our options are for trade deadline stuff coming up soon. Around December is the time when the decision has to be made. And if it is, we'll see. But that's what I think.
Well,
I'm going to be in Hawaii for a strong majority of December, and so I almost guarantee you it happens while I'm not around anything.
So you are saying that you're going to be doing these pods from the beach.
You know it, baby. I'm going to have the beach behind me, and it's going to the seagull that attacked Mark Mosier is going to come eat my bagel as well.
For Thanksgiving, we're going to have him. We're going to have Evan in Europe, and then we're going to have you in Hawaii. God.
Yeah.
They didn't know that. I'm going to Europe. Hey, hello.
Yee-hoo. Oh, very cool. I'm going to Europe too, and going to Italy for the Winter Olympics, bro. I'll be covering that.
I can't wait to talk about. That might be a whole other conversation too with Nature's contract by then. If that's not sorted and he's performing for,
I mean, it's got to be January, right? Because everybody knows when you're a pending UFA, negotiations are over in January.
But just ask Mikko Rantanen, well, let's move on very harshly this time. No smooth segue. We're just
rip the Band-Aid off.
We're going to just rip it off right now. And we're going to talk about the games coming up in the future, starting with the Blue Jackets game on Thursday, which is a couple nights from this live recording. The Blue Jackets are kind of a struggling team right now. They do got Adam Fantilli. They got Werenski still. But the Avalanche have so far at least made a habit out of beating teams that they should on paper. Evan, what do you want to see the Avs carry from their win over Buffalo, which you, as you mentioned, you were at, into that Blue Jackets game on Thursday?
Yeah, I mean they definitely did start that Buffalo game slow. Kind of expected that 12:30 p.m. puck drop. It's just kind of what it was. They came out and won with that. I think they need to come out with a sort of similar tenacity that they had in that second period in Buffalo, which was their best period probably. It took until the third period for them to outshoot Buffalo, but if they come out with that sort of tenacity and flowing style again from a MacKinnon and an HS, that'd be great. But then you'd also probably like to see some good defensive play too, and some help from the depth as we've kind of talked about already. And I mean, I wouldn't write off Columbus really at all. I mean, that was a team that was pretty close to making the playoffs last year, was in playoff position for a good bit of the year, and just kind of fell at the final hurdle. Granted, the circumstances, of course, were very different back then, and I think they're still kind of riding the wave of Johnny Gaudreau and kind of doing it for him still, of course, all this time later. But I wouldn't write him off, just quite yet. This feels like a possible, I guess, quote unquote trap game, probably like yesterday's game could have been. But I mean, if they come out for a full 60 minutes, they should be able to beat them. Keyword should.
Well,
Yeah, I don't think they can nap through this game. Like,
Yeah.
didn't Columbus just score 7 the other night?
Minnesota,
they had 7-4 against Minnesota. The only reason I know is because I've got Dmitry Voronkov on my fantasy team.
Your
and
fantasy
he has
team
4 points in 4
lit.
games.
I think the Avs didn't the Avs lose to Columbus last year? Like, it was one of the
They
early
actually,
I
games.
think
they
did.
actually gave Columbus their first win of last year.
Yeah.
6-4. They lost to the Jackets for their first.
I
And
think that
funny
was
enough,
opening night,
later
right?
on in the season, the Avalanche clinched their playoff berth by beating the Blue Jackets 7-3.
Wait,
I think
so
it
he's got-
was, and we'll see the old friends Miles Wood and Charlie Coyle. I
That's
think
right.
Wood scored against Columbus in that game that
And-
you just mentioned. So
Yeah, he did.
that's probably what got him
and
traded to
Wood,
Columbus.
I think, got hurt last game.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean,
Yeah, well, he either
Puck
took
to
a
the
puck
face,
or
yeah.
he took a puck or a stick or something like that to the face. He was bleeding profusely from the face, but that's nothing new for him, right?
Hockey guy.
And I guess we'll see if he plays or not.
Total hockey guy.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good look. That's a good look at the Blue Jackets. Ezra, another game, one that's always a fun one to go to at Ball Arena. And by fun, I mean kind of fun. Is the Bruins game. Boston fans are a particular kind of themselves. And we'll just say they travel well typically in these games. But where do you see the Boston Bruins right now? I mean, they got rid of Brad Marchand, who one would argue was kind of the identity of
I
that
knew you were
team.
going to say something, and I was going to say no.
Well, you said it. I had to do it.
Well, Ezra, what's the identity of this team now? They still got Pastrnak. What are we looking at with the Bruins? Is it a bounce back year for them?
They'd like it to be, yeah. I mean, the Bruins are kind of like Dallas light, where they're like, yeah, okay, they have some solid defenders. They have a bunch of good forwards that aren't great. Dallas's are better. And then they have a goalie who makes the difference, right? And last year, Swayman was not good. He came off his holdout. He came into the season cold, and he was a struggle as a person and a player. He was a struggle. But this season so far, I mean, they're 3-1, mostly on the back of him. They've gotten out to a hot start, but they're not going to be a team that is able to capitalize on chances the way the Stars did against Colorado. But they are going to be a team that tries to defend the same way that the Stars did against Colorado and rely on their goaltending. So for the Avs to beat them, I mean, if they play that game they played against Dallas, they will win. And I think they're capable of it. So I think they're a beatable team, but they are trying to be one of those defense-oriented squads that can chip away at a lower seed for the playoffs. We'll see if they can do it.
I think that's a really good analysis and comparable, because I think that is why Dallas is such a unique beast, is that they don't need a lot of opportunities. They have the ability to make you pay for very few mistakes. That's why they're so frustrating to play against. And I think you're right. I think Boston doesn't quite have that same capability of cashing in on your mistakes. They can hunker down and they can play the game into their goaltending, but they can't make you pay when they need to in order to really be a team like they want to be. I think that's a great observation. I'd say that Dallas Light would be a hilarious thing for Connor McGahey to call them in the preview. But yeah, I like that a lot. I like playing the Bruins because every single time you could just point to the Bork in the rafters and they all get very mad and say, like, why did you retire his jersey? He's one of us. Yada, yada. And then we say, well, why couldn't you win a Stanley Cup, brother? But that's awesome. We also might get Utah again before the next episode, Brendan. Like we talked about earlier, Dallas game, Avs thought they earned it. But in contrary to that, against Utah, they felt like they didn't earn it, but they won anyway. Is that what you saw as well? And what do you think they need to adjust in terms of facing the Utah Mammoth and getting a W?
I mean, I think the Utah is they're losing close games. So, I mean, they've lost 1-2, they've won 3-2, and they've lost 1-3. So they're close games as in terms of the score, but I mean, we've seen what they have been able to do against the Avs. What now? 4 times? Three times, if you include the preseason, and then 4 times if you want to include the rookie camp, which none of those kids probably even played for.
Sure,
but
yeah,
they're gonna be a quicker team, and I think they're gonna be offensively loaded again. So I think they just need to get their stuff together and gel a little bit more, and they'll get it together.
I like it. Jackie, tell me what you see from these upcoming contests of those 3 games. Which is your favorite matchup? And kind of comment on anything you might have heard there in our other answers.
Well, it's interesting that the Utah game in Boston will be like a quick rematch. I always say I look for the opposite result when you play a team that soon. So it could happen the other way where the Avs play Utah. Another close game and end up losing. They probably did learn their lesson a little bit, that they did not play well enough in that game, and can't give up breakaways like that and high danger chances. So it'll be interesting to see if they tighten up a little bit better. I think the Avs do kind of try to sleep through some of these bad teams, but I think they need to realize like that even when they went back to Arizona, that franchise has played them pretty tough the last few years. So they should look at it more as a rivalry game than like just trying to beat someone easy. So we'll see. I'm looking to see if their mentality changes a little bit. I do like the forwards that Utah has. I think they have built a good team. They obviously don't have like a superstar, but they have a lot of like, B+, A- kind of players. So I do like them. We'll see. Like I said, we'll just see if the Avs approach that game a little bit differently. Boston, I think it's hard to pinpoint because they had a bad year last year, but sometimes you never know. Like teams can kind of bounce back a little bit. They do have talent. In theory, Swayman's a good goalie. These things where I also feel like the same way with the Rangers. Like it was like they had a bad year and everyone's laughing at them, but like, are they really going to continue to be bad? So that's how I feel about those teams. We'll see how they play against Boston. It's that I'm not entirely sure what to expect there. It could be close. I don't know. Like I said, it's hard to say when you haven't really played the newest version of them. So, but I would kind of look for the opposite result because of the rematch will be just a week later. It's funny. There's a lot of these games. If people haven't really looked at the schedule, there's a lot of really odd schedule quirks, like a home and home against New Jersey, like some really strange things coming up that you would
home and
not
home
expect.
in New Jersey.
If you haven't really looked at it, there's some things that you'd be like, and there's a lot of day games. If you guys haven't really perused the schedule, there's a
18
lot
matinee games
of day games, which is good for our European friends. I don't mind day games, and like I said, it helps our European friends, but but it's a little weird schedule this year. So
I'll say the flight time from Denver to New Jersey is over 4 hours, so they're going to be flying for 8 hours in among those 3 days.
Well, it's a back-to-back. They play Boston,
yeah.
And then they play New Jersey, and then they play
That's
in
even
Denver.
crazier.
Yeah, and then both teams go and play in Denver.
And then JML was actually pointing this out last night that they've got some really weird scheduling too. That in the sense that it's like what Jackie was saying, that they go out east, they come back home for like 1 or 2. They go back east, they play 1, and then they come back home.
That's
and they go
tough.
out west.
Like the time change like that is tough.
Yeah, they're gonna have some havoc on the body
listen
this
to
year.
this. Listen to this. They play the Bruins in Boston Saturday, October 25th at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. Then they go to New Jersey, which at least they'll already be up in the East Coast, and they play at 11 o'clock. I'm still imagine though that that's a flight or a bus ride. So there's some flight plans in there from Boston to New Jersey, or is that close enough?
That's
Got to
probably
be
a
a
bus.
bus. Probably a
Yeah.
bus. And then
I think a
from
flight.
11 a.m. game against New Jersey to a Tuesday at 7 p.m. game in Denver, which means you'll be flying back to Denver probably that Sunday evening. You'll get back Monday, early morning Monday, and have all of Monday to relax. And then I guess Tuesday, you don't play until the evening. So it's not too crazy, but man, a 1 p.m. and then an 11 a.m. game right next to each other and a back-to-back. That's crazy.
But weirder than that is the next couple games. They've got a back-to-back afternoon games with Vegas and San Jose. They fly to Tampa, and then they fly to Edmonton and Vancouver. So it's like, why are we going to Tampa in the middle of this? Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I
I
think that's
feel
what
like they just
JMO
put-
was trying
Wait,
to
I
point
think that
out.
one's at
Yeah.
home. I think that one's
Did
at
they-
home because
Oh,
game
you're
in
right.
Tampa's
No, you're
in
totally right.
January.
That's in Colorado. I'm my mistake. My mistake.
The
other ones
commissioner
were
just
away.
put
I got 'em
in,
backwards.
we have 32 teams. They need to play 82 times. Each of them need to play once. These division players need to play each other. Enter Grok and outspit a schedule. And he was like, that's what we're going with right there.
I mean,
That's
I
what it
like
feels
playing all the teams because the alternative would be playing Dallas 8 times, and that would be terrible. So
Bednar
it's
wouldn't
fine,
like
but it's
that.
just, do you really need to do a home and home with New Jersey? That's
Yeah.
Crazy.
I don't know, that's a
Well,
little different.
Can they play Buffalo in Buffalo 82 times? Asking for
and can tickets be free
Well-
and also beer?
And I speak from experience that playing the same team 8 times is, oh my god, because
terrible.
watching the Eagles play Abbotsford 8 times and then another 5 times in the playoffs was horrible.
Well, I remember even the
that's
NHL
NHL
had that,
hockey.
like, what, about 10 years ago or something, when they had that
Mhm.
really division. I remember there was like a November where they played only division games, and it was like, I can't take this anymore. Like, they have to
Yeah.
play someone different. This is the NHL. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not
Heard.
the A anymore.
Well, there are about 531 of you tuned in live, so thank you folks very much for watching the Mile High Hockey Lab. This is our 115th edition. Please head on over to Spotify or iTunes, Apple Podcasts, wherever you consume your podcast content. Give us a subscribe and a follow. Share with your fellow Avalanche fans. The next thing I guess we'll do is do some bold predictions. Make sure that we hand out our dings and buzzers. Then I'll run that track, and then we'll give ours for this week. Sound good to all of you? Sounds good. Let's go, Evan first. Bardakov, you said would score his first NHL goal, and I'm pretty sure you jinxed him altogether because he
We need a
hasn't even
free
played hockey.
Bardakov. Free him.
I guess that's even a topic we didn't really discuss is what the hell happened there. Like,
Yeah.
he seemed like a shoo-in. They really just
Yeah.
like Parker Kelly that much.
I mean,
Well, of
can't-
course
they
they
won't
like
touch
Parker
Kelly
Kelly
or
that
Brindley.
much.
He's a
But-
perfect
whatever.
liner.
But he's
Well,
still,
it's
that's the
different, though.
thing, is if they were just like over him, he's still there. They're paying money every single day
Mhm.
for him to be on this roster. So
But
That's
he's
why I
on
don't
an
think-
entry.
Still. it's
yeah, but they're
contract,
still
baby.
paying him NHL pay every single day. That's going on their cap. So if they truly were just like decided they don't like him, or decided that Brindley won the job even though they weren't really in the running for the same job, then why have they spent 2 weeks paying him to sit around
Mhm.
on the team? Which is why
I
I
wonder
don't think he's really like out of favor.
No.
No, I think he's probably more than likely injured, and they're just not saying it.
No.
I
don't
think,
think
I
so.
mean, we heard so much about his communication challenges, learning English, being a
Oh.
Russian speaker. My like sneaking
Yeah.
suspicion is they're just like, let's get him up to speed with the communication side of the game, the X's and O's side of the game, while he's like with the team for a while, and then get him into games when inevitably somebody gets hurt, because right now this lineup is clicking. So I don't know why you would change it, except there's a part of the lineup that's not clicking, but we didn't touch on that. But
Second
but
line.
the second line,
Yeah, the
But,
second line, which never clicks.
Which
doesn't
has
make
a
sense.
Russian on it.
Well,
Yeah,
I think it has to do with Brindley. Like,
it does.
I don't
Yeah,
think Brindley's going to
deserves
be
that
around
time.
for that much longer. So
There's that way to look at it too. But I just mean Brindley, like he has. I think the same is true with Ivan and Nikita Prishopov last season as is true with Brindley this season. until he has a game where he doesn't do well, he's gonna get his minute. He's gonna get his chunk of minutes, and they're gonna be small, but he's like in the lineup until he screws up. The leash is just still as small as it ever is for any young player. But right now, the way he's playing, I don't see that leash needing to be yanked for a while.
Yeah, well, when the opening game roster dropped, I messaged our Slack channel and said, "Hey, look, I told you guys they love Parker Kelly as the 4C," and you guys were like, "Well, actually, what this tells me is Brindley got the young guy spot instead of Bardakov," and I think you're right about that. And Brendan, I think you put it well in that chat as well when you said, "Well, now it's Brindley's job to lose." And Ezra, I think that's kind of what you're pointing to.
I just don't think they see it like that. Like there's a timer. They know what the timer is. They know how long that they want to deal
9
with.
games, and he already had one burned when he got here.
It's not. So. He's not a teenager. There's no. There's no entry level slide. His contract is going to count regardless.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certainly a chance that no matter how well he plays, he goes down after a couple of weeks. There's certainly a chance. But to me, it seems like the way they're talking about him and the way he's playing,
but I mean, it's 8 minutes. Like
sure,
it's nice, but it's not like it's real. It's not like
it's more than zero. It's more than Ivan's getting.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I think to me the difference between what I'm seeing from Brindley and what I'm seeing from Ivan and Prishapov last season, who I liked, and I was happy that they were getting minutes, and I was glad they were getting chances. But it does seem like every single time Brindley's on the ice, you see him. He is he is playing loud. He is playing well, not just well in the stats, not just effective defensively. He's playing meaningful. He's making meaningful plays when he's on the ice. So to me, it seems like until that stops, he's probably going to stick around. But once that stops one game, he's going to get sent down. Because that's
the thing that stuck out to me at the home opener was that Brindley's really good at covering for an activated defender.
Yeah,
and I think that's like a really, really valuable thing. Skill to have inside of this system. I hope it's viewed that way.
Real quick, you know how many points Ivan has in 2 games with the Eagles?
14.
0.
14
would be crazy.
I would like you to tell me who's on the first power play.
And he's a -1, and he only has 3 shots on goal. And so, and that was with 7 goals being scored in the first game alone.
Who's on power play 1?
Who I can't remember.
I'm sure you do.
It's still. I mean,
all the
how many minutes? Rebuttal and another question. How many minutes did Ivan get?
There's no minutes.
They don't track that.
Brandon, that's your new job. I'm gonna get you like 16 stopwatches for the AHL.
Okay. I'm just saying. And then Frishy is injured and he doesn't play. So
well.
Oh, also speaking of injured, who got injured again in their first game in the AHL for the season?
Steiny.
Steinberg.
Steinberg got hurt again in 1 game.
Oh boy,
guys who play like that.
Yeah,
they get hurt.
Did he get fined?
That or he got injured during the fight with the Avs, came down and then played through the injury, and then got benched.
Yeah, I'm sure they could do that too.
Yeah, because they've done that.
Let's keep this rolling on the bold prediction side of thing. We got a little sidetracked, but I get it because it was a subject we didn't broach, but that's fine. I like it. We needed to talk about it. But moving on, but not so much. Jackie, your prediction would be that Gavin Brindley would be sent down before this road trip to Buffalo, and I'm so happy to give you this buzzer because that didn't happen.
That's fine, but the shoe was hanging. The shoe was hanging.
Yeah, I was going to say he's hanging by a thread, to be honest.
Well, Brandon, you had the Eagles getting an Eagles sweep of the weekend, my friend, and that is a ding. Congratulations. That puts you on the bold predictions board. We currently have a 3-way tie between Brandon, Ezra, and Jackie, both with 1 point. And Ezra, you said last week that Trent Miner would get a win. He didn't play, although I kind of thought he would.
I really thought he'd play that Buffalo game. Yeah,
I thought he would.
My suspicion is the shaky Wedgwood game. They were like, go, get out there, Wedge, fix that.
I think they play him every game. Like if Blackwood
at this point,
play for even the back-to-back, I think they're just going to play Wedgwood every game.
Oh shit!
If they're not giving him Buffalo, then what are they going to give him?
Well, we have another thing to touch on after this because we didn't talk about it, and I can't believe that I'm so dumb to not put this in the script. But my last one was that the two rookies would have points. I'm gonna give myself a wrong buzzer on that because the two rookies didn't play, only one of them did. But the thing that I left out of the script, which is crazy, is Mackenzie Blackwood being loaned to the Colorado Eagles and coming back on a conditioning stint, essentially.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that before we run the track and give this week's bold predictions. How are we feeling about that? Is that good news? Does that tell you he's coming back sooner, or is it?
I mean,
worse
it's
than-
progress, so I guess
Okay.
progress is always
Yeah.
positive. But is he like they don't play till Saturday? Is it just to give him somewhere to practice? Because I don't know. The way that it's being described is that he's not exactly ready, and then there's no reason to rush him with Wedgwood playing so well. So I'd be surprised if he's ready to play in a game, but I mean, who knows? But would they just send him just for practice? I don't know about that either.
You're muted, Evan.
I know. I'm talking to my girlfriend's watching over all of this, and I asked her to give me a bold prediction, and she can't give me one. So that's
She's like, you won't have a bold prediction. There's your bold prediction.
I'm
else we
impressed,
didn't touch on.
Jackie. I'm frankly impressed that you managed to spin a guy coming back from injury into a negative. It was amazing.
Oh my God.
What is negative about that? I said progress is positive.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's just there for practice or if he's ready to play in a game.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, per the CBA, he has 14 days to be with the team, and in that 14 days, they play 6 games. So he may not play the first couple games. He could play the first couple games. They have 3 games on the road, and then they're back at home. So we'll see.
I was gonna say, I bet you he plays in that series back at home. I think it's like the 24th or 25th. That's
if
the Friday,
they
Saturday.
want to be all secretive and stuff like they always are, if I mean they're in Coachella Valley once, they go to Ontario and then back to Coachella Valley. I don't know why the heck they're splitting it up, but and then they come back home the following weekend and they play Rockford, who feeds Chicago.
That's when you see him, I think, as against Rockford. What was the other topic we didn't discuss, Ezra?
Sam Girard.
Oh yeah,
we didn't touch Sam Girard.
Sam and Girard. I'm Sam. Just well, here's what I saw. He played so that Solovyov, so that he could get familiar. Played through in game 1 and 2 is what I saw.
But it's a
Sam
different
Girard.
injury.
Yeah.
It's not lower body, it's upper body.
Oh,
It's listed as a different injury. Yeah.
It seemed like he was like hiding in that Burns picture. It was kind of like hiding his hand. Maybe something like that.
Astute. It's an astute observation.
So I
Jackie.
don't think. I mean, it's true. They could just lie. I mean, that should always be like one option that's possible. But
No way.
probably is just something else that happened. Maybe blocked a shot in his hand or something.
Well, it's a good thing they got that waiver wire pickup that they did. Otherwise, my prediction of seeing way too much of Keaton Middleton would be 100% accurate right
Which
now.
that's hilarious. They didn't even call him. So he's not even the 7th anymore. They just
Thank God.
over it.
Well,
Sean is not better. No.
And Sean is he plays a very similar type of game as Gerard. So I'm not surprised at the type.
I mean, as an AHL
player.
He plays.
You can't just
a
say
similar
like,
game.
he's small. He's the same guy. Like, there's a reason why he's only played like 10 NHL games in his career.
Yeah, he looked really good in the preseason, but that means nothing. He has to do that in a real game. But hopefully, he does not have to do that in a real game.
Yes.
But
they are pretty much at their injury apex right now. Like, this is it. Like, this is as much as they can handle and still kind of perform the way they want to perform. Anymore, we're getting into yikes.
Anymore,
Brandon,
we're getting into testing out some new guys. You know, who knows what happens.
Who knows? Well, let's get our bold predictions this week. I'm going to run the track. I'm going to run our bold predictions promo real quick. And while I'm doing that, I want you four beautiful people to ponder your thoughts on what your bold prediction is going to be this week.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
I call that bold talk.
All right, folks, it's another weekly installment of Bold Predictions, and on this version, we will hopefully be right. Last week we did pretty good, though, with a ding. I think we have a ding in every week so far. So the way this works is we all make bold predictions. Sometimes they're bold hopes, but we circle back the next week, and you hand you a buzzer for being wrong, and we hand you a ding for being right. If you are correct, you get on the scoreboard, and at the end of the year, we will be handing out a gift of sorts. We've joked about it being a box of Mikko Rantanen jerseys. That feels like not a reward at all. So we're still contemplating what we're going to hand out to the winner. But let's hash those bold predictions out this week. I'm going to go ladies first this time. Jackie, you're up.
All right. I will say that Bardakov will play a game, and I will not say why. I will just say he will play in one of the next three games.
Does Brentley get sent down?
It could be that, or it could be something else I'm not going to say.
Because Mark just gets traded. I love that you whispered that, Brandon. That was freaking so good. High quality stuff right there. Okay, I like it though. I think Bardakov needs to play. Like otherwise, I'm going to be
it's been long enough.
Yeah,
I agree with that. He needs to play within these next three games. So yeah.
Okay, I like that. I got you down. Bardakov will play a game. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. To all of those, I think it's freaking vaguely sober that hates how I say his name, so I apologize.
I think it's
Brennan,
Bardakov, but I also would like to hear Russian say it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have him tell me. Brendan, what do you got for me this week, my friend?
Blackwood gets a shutout. My guess it's going to be against Ontario.
He better,
and that would be on Sunday.
Although he might be out to dry a little more than he usually is. So we'll see how that goes. I get so worried about goalies in the AHL because dudes just crash the net so willy-nilly in that league. It's a scary place for a guy to be coming back from an injury, in my humble opinion. But Landeskog did it, I guess. So
yeah,
am I right in thinking I can't think of a goalie that had a conditioning stint other than Francouz?
I can't.
Not recently.
Yeah.
Well, in like the last 10 years.
But this is a goalie who missed a whole training camp. So
I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I can't think of another time they actually. They usually don't send veterans down.
No.
Yeah.
For example,
veterans also have to agree to it too. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I guess we'll find out. At first I was like, geez, Brandon's really getting a bold prediction. Thinks freaking Mackenzie Blackwood's going to play this week. Holy shit, here we go. Bold predictions is on
against
fire.
Ontario.
Got it.
And keep in mind that Barons is probably going to be in the lineup. Ashawn's probably going to be sent back down and be playing for him this weekend. So, yeah, it's going to be fun.
I'm going to go, and I'm so sorry to Evan and Ezra because I bet you I stole one of yours. But I need points from the second line. And so I'm going to say this is a bold hope this week, and I need a 4-point game in any of these three games coming up from the second line altogether.
Ooh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought you were just saying from one player, and I was going to say,
so does it have to be, like, for example, if they get power play points, does that count?
I'd say anyone who's on the second line gets a point in any situation that will contribute, because 4's a lot.
True, but it has to all be in one game. 4 in one
game. in one game, one way or another. Yeah, exactly. So that's my bold prediction this week. I hope it happens because we didn't touch on it, but yeah, the second line is not doing the things that we really want the second line to do, namely scoring. But they did do some stuff. Yeah. Yeah. They've been all right. Landy's getting better in the corners. Ezra, what do you got for me this week?
Ooh, I was going to do something in that area. I was going to talk about Nichushkin, who I really like the way he's playing. But instead, I'm going to say Ilya Solovyov. So far, a little shaky, right? But I like a lot of what he is trying to do. And I think the more comfortable he gets in the system, the more likely it is to pay off. So let's get a 2-point week out of Ilya Solovyov.
Yeah.
One doesn't feel bold enough, so let's go 2.
Well, he described himself as a two-way D to the altitude crew. I don't know if that's how I would describe it. Yeah. I know, but a 2-point week would be nice.
Does 1 feel bold enough? Because that, I mean,
2 over 3, yeah. Because anybody can get 1. It's kind of
Let's go 2. Let's go 2.
Yeah, 2. 2 would be good.
And what did Evan's girlfriend come up with?
What did your girlfriend come up with?
She
just want to be on the. Does she just want to be on the show?
Put her on camera or?
You want to come over here and say hello? Oh, she's
let's see this Mr. Girlfriend, Evan.
Here we go.
This is like meeting the parents.
Podcast
this is
from
big.
Mackenzie.
Nice
It was her first ever
you.
hockey game that I took her to. I guess I should say my dad took us to because he's hooked us up.
Very cool.
So
amazing.
Very cool.
Yeah, good. We got like
did
row 5 seats. It was pretty good.
Woo. Did you come up with a bold prediction for Evan? Because we need you right now.
I came up with a good one, and I'm actually kind of surprised no one took it because we play 4 different former Avalanche members in the next week. It's going to be Miles Wood, Charlie Coyle for Columbus, Casey Middlestat for Boston, who we didn't really touch on there, and then Ian Cole with Utah Mammoth. I think one of them is going to to against the Avalanche.
Forgot Zadorov.
I was going to say you forgot Big Z, dude.
And Zadorov, yeah, Zadorov and
I think Kerfoot's hurt. I think.
Oh, okay.
You're right.
He's in Utah.
My point is that one of the former Avalanche players is going to score against the Avs this week because that always happens.
But we don't count Ian Cole after that whole incident.
Fair.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Evan.
Goal, though, I think I'd put that on the board.
Yeah. What a nice guy, Evan, for putting your lovely girlfriend on the spot.
Yes, nice to meet you.
Yes, wonderful to meet you.
I'm kind of surprised that you did it, in all honesty.
That's pretty awesome, honestly. My wife would be like, absolutely not. She might run out of the front door. So good on her. Heck, just ask her if she wants me to start paying her instead of you to come on the show, because I mean,
Whoa, hold on, wait.
No, I love you. I'd never do that to you, Evan. I promise I'd never do that. Well, those are our bold predictions of the week. We got any commenters with some bold prediction? No, we don't.
Vaguely usually has one. I don't see it.
Yeah, Vaguely must be. I must have made Vaguely mad when I was talking about Nathan MacKinnon because
or Bardakov,
something.
Vaguely really disagreed with our thoughts on the power play too. So
yeah, he was not pleased. Well, there's about 800
did he like
of you.
the power play or not?
He said, "What they scored though, bro." So
they have scored a power play goal every game. I don't think that's true, but that's what Vaguely said.
They definitely.
No, they went 0 for 5 against the Buffalo Sabres. So
right.
But anyway, thank you to the 800 of you who are tuned in live. Please follow us on your preferred social media platforms and, of course, on your preferred podcast platform. You can head on over to YouTube and subscribe there. We are available on Twitch and Twitter and all the fun stuff as well. So please just give us some support. Everybody who comes out and supports us helps us keep doing this for years to come as we keep growing and the audience comes with us. It's just been a lot of fun. We really appreciate all of you Avalanche fans. We promise to keep bringing you more insight and just at the very minimum, just keep talking about the Colorado Avalanche. Hopefully over the next week until our next show, we come back and we have nothing but winning to talk about, and that will be wonderful. And Marty Natchez can keep making himself more expensive, and maybe the second line will get on the board. This is going to be a fun week, and this is going to be a fun season, and we really appreciate you Avalanche fans. So until next time, on behalf of myself, Adrian Hernandez, here with Ezra Parter, Jackie K, Evan Liu, and Brennan Vogt, please enjoy your day and go Colorado Avalanche.
Thank you for tuning into the Mile High Hockey Lab.